Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Saturday, February 1st, 2025, and tonight I'll actually be talking about last night's SmackDown. Now, I know today is the Royal Rumble, and I will be doing my Royal Rumble review later on tonight. Well, if not later on tonight, tomorrow, because I've been doing one with A Plus Hero Report. But let's kick things off talking about this Kevin Owens segment. So, Joe Tessitore invites Kevin Owens down to the ring because he wants to make it up to him for what he said. And Joe tells Kevin that he's not going to apologize for doing his job, but he will apologize if Kevin Owens wasn't given a fair take. And basically, Kevin Owens doesn't really care about Joe Tessitore's apology. He tells him to shove his apology up his, And how both titles were hanging on that little thing? He took the wing title back. And CM Punk comes out and he interrupts Kevin Owens. And the crowd starts chanting, "Holy shit," although you can't really hear it because, they're muted. Punk apologizes to KO for interrupting him. But since he heard his name, he took it as an invitation to come out. He says that he apologizes for looking past him and says that if Kevin Owens makes it past Cody Rhodes, the main event will be Kevin Owens versus CM Punk. And CM Punk basically tells Kevin Owens that if he wins, he congratulates him, but it won't last long because he's coming for him. And Kevin basically says that there's 20 other 9 guys in the Rumble that he likes more than CM Punk. And the thought of Punk versus KO in the main event, which sounds good, is a thought of KO beating Punk's ass. So he talks about how CM Punk's dream to main event WrestleMania. And it would feel good knowing that Punk's dream never comes true. And Punk makes a reference to the fact that KO has lost 5 titles at the Rumble, and Punk himself has never lost to Logan Paul, win, lose, or draw. He does it by himself, and he doesn't take shortcuts at KO. And Punk tells Kevin Owens he may never main event WrestleMania, but he can kick Kevin Owens' ass right here, right now. So honestly, I thought this was a really good opening segment. I actually really liked this, the interaction between Punk and Kevin Owens. It was really good. I liked it. And I'm very curious now to see how this factors into the Royal Rumble, especially with I don't think Kevin Owens is going to beat Cody Rhodes. So I wonder if Kevin Owens is going to maybe beat up Sami Zayn, take his spot, or is he going to enter the Royal Rumble? I definitely want to see what kind of interaction Kevin Owens and CM Punk have in the Rumble if, KO goes into the Rumble. Okay, so next we get a Miz segment, and he's basically talking to Nick Aldis about how he sent A-Town down under to Raw, about how he can punch Andrade in the face. Andrade always hears this, and he challenges Miz to a match Nick Aldis makes the match official for tonight. So this was an okay segment. I felt like your typical Miz segment here. So after this, we get Jimmy Uso versus Carmelo Hayes. I thought this was an okay match. I feel like they're trying to turn Jimmy Uso into a single star like they did to Jey Uso. It's going to be interesting to see how Jimmy flies solo here. Now, one of the things I thought was interesting was Carmelo tries to pin Jimmy with his hand on the ropes, but he's not able to. And Jimmy beats Carmelo Hayes with a handful of tights. So, obviously this feud between Carmelo Hayes and Jimmy Uso is not over yet. So very curious to see the interaction in the Royal Rumble and where this is going to go. But I'm hoping that, we've moved past the bloodline versus bloodline thing and that they're doing this separately. So good. We get a Chelsea Green interview, and she's talking about how Michin tried to destroy the face of the United States, and she calls Piper Niven her service. I guess it's a play on Secret Service, but she vows to win not only tonight, but at the Royal Rumble. So this leads into the Women's United States Championship match, Chelsea Green versus Michin. And basically, I thought this was a decent match. But I disliked the finish here. Like, B-Fab was at ringside, Pepper Nivens was at ringside. But the thing is, this match ended in DQ because Chelsea Green ended up whacking Michin with that candlestick that she came out to the ring to. So obviously this feud is not over yet. And I wonder if it's going to culminate with Michin either winning the United States title. If that's not going to happen, they might as well have just ended the feud right here and then. So I personally, I want Chelsea Green to have a decent title reign, especially, have this title established. She doesn't need to have a year-long reign, but, give it a few months at least. So this is what her first title defense. Well, not her first title defense, but like her first feud. Let her get a couple of feuds under her belt, maybe like 3-4 feuds, and then have her drop the belt. I just think since she just won this belt, it's too soon for her to lose it. So just end the rivalry with Michin so we could go on to do something else. So next, we get Naomi and Bianca Belair being interviewed, and they basically said that even though they're a tag team, it doesn't matter who wins the Rumble. They're going to support each other. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it says that they're going to support each other and that a win is a win, no matter which one of them wins, and that they're both going to be pointing to the WrestleMania sign. And they mentioned Liv and Raquel that they're not going to go down without a fight, and so they better be ready to Rumble. I still wonder who attacked Jade Cargill and how that's going to play a factor into this. I think it's so obvious if it's Bianca. So if it's not Bianca, who could it be? Maybe Naomi? Like, I can't think of anybody else that would have wanted Jade Cargill out of the way. But like I said, it will be really obvious if it's Bianca. Normally, when they've done this storyline in the past, it's always the person that finds them that's the attacker. So personally, like I said, I wouldn't like it if it's Bianca because it's so obvious that it would be. But I can't think of anybody else besides Bianca or Naomi. All right. So you get a Damian Priest promo. And he starts talking about how he went from follower to leader, from a nobody to world champion, and that he's not trying to make a name for himself anymore. And he's going to enter the Royal Rumble. And he gets interrupted by Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, which I thought was interesting. I'm so glad Damian Priest came over to SmackDown because he needed to get away from the Judgment Day. That feud was just dragging. So really glad he came over to SmackDown. Fatu basically says that they're both from the streets, but unlike Damian Priest, he was locked up in the box while Priest wasn't. And he tells Damian Priest either lay down or they'll beat his ass. And I like how Priest tells Jacob Fatu in Spanish, like, que si piensa que le tiene miedo, like, does he think he's scared of him? He mentions how they're both from the streets, so why is he talking? Priest cheap shots Tama Tonga, and I really like that stare down between Jacob Fatu and Damian Priest, and then a brawl breaks out between them, and L.A. Knight, comes out to help Damian Priest, and then we find out that, later on in the night, which actually ended up being the main event, there's going to be a tag match here. We get a segment with the Motor City Machine Guns and Legado del Fantasma. Basically, Sabin and Shelley tell, Escobar that they'll have their backs tonight for the match. And Escobar tells Angel and Berto, Los Garza, in Spanish, to keep an eye on the machine guns. Obviously he said that so that the machine guns wouldn't understand what he's talking about. And Los Garza basically warn the machine guns that if they win the tag titles, they're going to go after them. I feel so bad for Los Garza. They're just kind of there, But I wonder if this is going to, lead to a multi-man match. Oh, hey, Ayo, what's up? Because it seems like they're telling a story with DIY, with Pretty Deadly, the Motor City Machine Guns, Legado del Fantasma. So this seems like it's building to a multi-man match at WrestleMania. We get DIY and Pretty Deadly versus the Motor City Machine Guns and Los Garza. Now, they did the whole can they coexist storyline with this here. But basically, like in the middle of the match, like Angel Garza, he went back to like ripping his pants, but him and Humberto Carrillo, they walk out on the Motor City Machine Guns here. And so four it's basically 4-2. But Tommaso Ciampa accidentally, if you want to say, hit Elton Prince, and he tried to tag in Kit Wilson, but Kit Wilson refused to tag him in because he decided to go check on Elton Prince. Doing 2 shows today, including Rumble. I might actually be doing 3. Yeah, because I didn't do SmackDown yesterday because I did predictions with A+ Hero Report, so I couldn't do my SmackDown reviews. That's what I'm doing right now. And then later on tonight, I'm doing a review with A+ Hero Report. I don't know if I'll be able to do my solo review tonight, or if not, I'll do it tomorrow. But I definitely will be doing multiple shows. But yeah. So, because of this, the Motor City Machine Guns get the victory. Like, Chris Sabin is able to pin Tommaso Ciampa. So, even though Los Garza left them, they still were victorious. And then there's a backstage segment with Jacob Fatu and Tonga. They're eyeing those tag titles. And DIY grab them. And, DIY confront Pretty Deadly about not helping them. And Gargano basically warns Pretty Deadly that they'll lose their title shot if they lose the tag titles tonight on the Royal Rumble. And not to Prince DIY that they're on their own tomorrow. So, like, this entire time, I felt that DIY was manipulating Pretty Deadly to kind of, like, help them keep those tag titles with the promise of them winning those tag titles, which I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think DIY had any intention to give Pretty Deadly a title shot. They were just trying to use them so that they can keep their tag titles. But I do wonder if Pretty Deadly is going to play a factor in the 2 out of 3 falls match tonight. And I wonder, like, when Pretty Deadly's going to realize that DIY is just using them. Apollo Crews is trying to tell them that they're just using them, but, they're not listening. So we have to wait and see. Okay. Next, we get Naomi versus Liv Morgan. I think this was a decent match. Naomi ended up winning this match, and then Raquel and Liv attacked Bianca and Naomi. So it seems like they're setting up to Bianca and Naomi versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan for those tag titles. Again, how does this factor into Jade Cargill being attacked? Or do we find out after the Royal Rumble? Does Jade Cargill cost Bianca and Naomi the tag titles? I guess those all questions. Again, like I said earlier, it would be so freaking obvious if it's Bianca. With the Miz versus Andrade, which was actually a pretty decent match. You had the Miz doing a flying head scissors on Andrade over here. But this was really good. I really like the Spanish fly and then the spinning back elbow that Andrade did to the Miz, but Andrade was victorious. So it's good that he got the win here. Now that Zelina Vega's back on SmackDown, I hope they get paired up again. We're getting a Damian Priest segment, and Santos Escobar approaches him, and Damian Priest is kind of like, why is this guy even talking to me? Like, we're not friends. Santos Escobar was like, oh, Dom is right about you. And then I guess R-Truth is on SmackDown now. Or if you ask him, he's on Raw. Because R-Truth comes out and tells Damian Priest that they're on Raw. And he said that he talked to to Adam Pearce, who now has a British accent and hair. Like, Truth is so hilarious. Like, this was funny. L.A. Knight interrupts and so basically says that they're going to handle business, but tomorrow's a different story. And then R-Truth welcomes both Damian Priest and L.A. Knight to Raw and suggests for me the team. L.A. Knight, yeah, she's kind of like, he does know, and then Damian Priest tells her, just drop it. So I thought it was hilarious. Like, R-Truth's segments never failed to make me laugh. He's hilarious. One of the kings of comedy when it comes to pro wrestling. The other two, in my opinion, being Orange Cassidy and Johnny Swinger. Okay, so Zelina Vega runs into Tiffany Stratton, and she basically lets Tiffany Stratton know that she wants that title. And, Tiffany Stratton basically wishes her good luck in the Royal Rumble. So I'm hoping now that Zelina is away from the LWO, that she gets a chance to come onto her show, onto her own. Would it be great if she gets paired up with Andrade? Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, I definitely want her to win singles gold. She's only been women's tag team champion, and she's been the queen of the ring. It would be great if she finally wins some singles gold here. I feel like she's so underrated. Like, she really hasn't done much. She's been a manager. Yeah, she wrestles occasionally, but she really doesn't have her own story, kind of, So I definitely would like to see more of Zelina Vega. Even if she has like a short title reign, just, give her a title. She's done a lot. Or, you paired up her with Andrade. Maybe they can both hold gold and be like a manager and a client duo. So you get Tiffany Stratton promo, and she's out there with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. And she's basically talking about how she's always been champion material, and she doesn't matter who wins the Rumble, because no matter what, it's Tiffy time. Yeah, you heard that correctly. It's not morphin time. It's not adventure time. It's not clobbering time. It's Tiffy time. She gets interrupted by Candice LeRae, who, like, as we all know, Candice LeRae, she was trying to prevent Tiffany from, like, cashing in her briefcase. And Tiffany basically tells Candice that she's going to be nothing more than Nia Jax's little psychic, and unlike her, who's champion. And Candice accuses Tiffany of being jealous that Nia Jax preferred her as a tag team partner instead of Tiffany. So, Nia Jax comes on and attacks Tiffany, but accidentally ends up taking out Candice LeRae. So it seems this saga with Nia Jax is not over yet. The main event to be Tonga and Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, and Damian Priest. Brawl breaks out between during this match, and Damian Priest and LA Knight end up being victorious. Of course, Tonga is the one that takes the pin here, and Jacob Fatu attacks Damian Priest with the pop-up Samoan drop and then a moonsault. So I thought this was like interesting. Now that Solo Sikoa has been MIA, like, Jacob Fatu is really coming on his own. Like, that promo, that interaction that he had with Damian Priest earlier in the night was actually pretty good, and I like it. And it seems like this is going to be the feud going forward, Jacob Fatu and Damian Priest. I actually wouldn't mind that. I think it's something different. Like I said, I'm just happy Damian Priest is away from the bloodline here. From the Judgment Day. But anywho, I thought overall it was a pretty decent SmackDown. Now, this was the go-home show to the Royal Rumble, and I've always felt that the purpose of the go-home show is to get you excited for the pay-per-view and to sell you the pay-per-view. If you hadn't been watching SmackDown, you were supposed to tune into this show and be excited for the Royal Rumble. Had this been your run-of-the-mill SmackDown, I definitely would have ranked it like a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really pretty decent show. But because this is a go-home show, I have to knock it down at least to a 6, because I feel like there really wasn't a lot that happened that got me excited for the Royal Rumble. I have to say, like, even though I like the Miz versus Andrade, that really had nothing to do with the build towards the Rumble. So and Naomi versus Liv Morgan, again, really had nothing to do with the build versus the Royal Rumble. It wasn't a bad match. It's just, again, this is a go-home show. This is supposed to sell you the pay-per-view. But like I said, either way, whether I watch SmackDown or not, I was still going to watch the Royal Rumble. But with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or there's a new video. If I don't see you guys tonight, I definitely will see you guys tomorrow as I review the Royal Rumble. Bye.